I remember like getting sentenced, the judge slamming the gavel and everything, and just how like much that took out of me. Like it really broke me. But you can't show it. You can't
Yeah.
cry, you can't plead, you can't mourn. It's like you just have to go right into. You literally walk from the courtroom, from being sentenced, into a cage where there's other men in there waiting for their sentences. These guys who, if they sense weakness, are going to take advantage of that. So you have no time to process that you're about to do 20 years in prison. So you have to just go right into this like mode of a warrior. But I was really broken inside and I didn't know how to deal with that. Violence was like the only thing that made me feel better. Hurting other people made me feel a little bit better. That right there really brought my confidence down. At my core, I wasn't confident at all. But the outside, I would walk around with my head up and chest high, but I was really scared and I was unsure where I was going and what it was going to be like and if I was going to make it. This is a lot. So I had to rebuild from that. And it took me 10 years to even get to the starting point to do that.
Confidence is built in the mind before it's shown in the world. Carlos, you often talk about flipping the switch on confidence. Today, I want to unpack what that really means. You talk about core confidence versus surface level confidence. What's the difference and why does it matter?
Yeah. The difference between core confidence and surface level confidence is core confidence is the confidence that comes from within. And surface level confidence is the confidence that is seen from the outside. So for example, if a person drives a nice car, right? And they're driving down the street and you look at them, and that's a confident person there, right? From the outside. But you don't know at their core who they truly are, if they really are confident within. So core confidence is about doing the work on yourself internally first, the inside, working on those limiting beliefs and being authentic and being true and understanding yourself and having self-awareness and knowing who you are and how you show up and not masking it on the surface level with clothes and cars and jewelry and all these things that people can falsely associate confidence with. That confidence is like a fabricated, a fake confidence. You can get through life and you can, pretend to be confident, but eventually somebody will see through that. And not only that, it hurts you. It's dangerous. It hurts you internally at the end because you're really suffering and struggling inside. And all it takes is for one person to say something to impact you in a way, and then to bring it all out that you're not confident.
Right.
So it's important. Core confidence is important because it's your essence. It's who you are, and there's nothing more important than developing and understanding that.
Why do you think so many people struggle with confidence, even after achieving so much success?
Because confidence, I feel, is something that we have to always continue to build. I know plenty of confident people. I'm
Yeah.
pretty confident myself in certain domains, but I have to consistently keep working to get more confident. I have to consistently work to continue to build myself and who I am. For example, getting out of prison, I had a level of confidence already. I did some work in prison.
Yeah.
So I had some confidence within myself. Like I had the confidence to ask for help, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't have the confidence to like start my own business yet. Like it just wasn't there. And I could have pretended I did, but it wouldn't have been true. And so as I was learning more, educating myself and pushing myself a little bit more each day, I was building confidence and I had to continue to step out of my comfort zone more and more in the different places. And still to this day, I do. So that's why you see, that's why it's important that you continue to build upon that, right? And that you continue to develop that, because if you think you have it all figured out and you kind of think that you're the most confident person, you're going to find out really quickly when you reach a certain level that there's so much more room for growth.
So it's not necessarily a destination, but more of a journey.
Yeah, it's not a destination. It's definitely a journey.
I love that. What's the first step someone should take when they feel like they've completely lost themselves?
Yeah. I mean, acknowledge it. Acknowledge that you've completely lost yourself first. Don't lie to yourself and pretend like you haven't. And it goes back to when I was in prison and I had to like admit that, that I played a big part in me being there and stop being the victim.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. The second thing is to create a plan, whether you write that down or whether you just hold it within you. Create a plan on how you're going to change and become different than who you are. And what comes with creating a plan is learning a lot. Learning from others, studying, understanding, like what other people have done, trying them and failing at them, and trying different things. So it's a long battle to get there, but you have to start first with admitting it. And it's like the first thing in AA, it's like, admitting that you're an addict is the most important thing. And then everything else is the stepping stones to get to recovery. And then always acknowledging that, that you're an addict,
Yeah.
right? You're just in recovery. So it's the same thing when you're broken, acknowledging it, like looking at your life, doing like as I call like a SWOT analysis of yourself.
Yeah.
And really seeing like where you could have done better, what you can do better now, and start to move forward on that.
Taking inventory of your life.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if you finally have awareness that you've lost yourself, what is essential in rebuilding or reinventing yourself? What's the next step?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So for me, it was really understanding how I learn, right? Because, along the journey of like finding yourself and transforming your life, there's going to be some learning that's required.
Yeah.
So you want to know what's the best way you learn, right? So for me, I'm like a self-teacher. I like to learn, with myself. I like to explore things through reading and studying. And so I knew that's where I was going to start. I didn't just jump into like a group and put myself into doing something that I wasn't ready for.
Yeah.
Eventually, I wanted to get there, but I knew I needed to start where I needed to start, which was working on myself alone in my prison cell. And then once I did that, I felt like my confidence built up to where I can take it to others. So I started to, one guy pulled from the prison yard and was like teaching him what I learned, getting feedback and getting deeper into it. And then another guy, and eventually you create a group. And then you feel more comfortable in a bigger, expansive place. So figuring out how you learn and what works for you in those beginning stages is really important.
Yeah. What's one of the hardest moments in your life where confidence had to be rebuilt, not just reclaimed?
Man, so many. But it was really it was being sentenced, so 20 years in prison. I remember like getting sentenced, and the judge, slamming the gavel and everything, and just how like much that took out of me. Like it really like broke me. But you can't show it. You can't cry, you can't plead, you can't mourn. It's like you just have to go right into. You literally walk from the courtroom, from being sentenced, into a cage where there's other men in there waiting for their sentences that are like these guys who, if they sense weakness, are going to take advantage of that. So you have no time to really process that you're about to do 20 years in prison. So you have to just go right into this like mode of a warrior. And but I was really broken inside and I didn't know how to deal with that. So I just was like, violence was like the only thing that made me feel better. Hurting other people made me feel a little bit better. And so that right there really brought my confidence down. But going back to what you said in the beginning about the outer confidence, right? The difference between the core and the outside is like at my core, I wasn't confident at all. But the outside, I would walk around with my head up and chest high, but I was really scared.
Yeah.
And I was really not confident. And I was unsure where I was going and what it was going to be like and if I was going to make it. And how am I going to like do this time? And like this is a lot. So I had to rebuild from that. And it took me 10 years to even get to the starting point to do that.
Wow.
10 years to get to that. But once you get there, and for those of you listening, you may have to go 10 years. But guess what? Once you know that if you just keep pushing through with a little bit of every day wanting to be better, you'll eventually hit a point where you just like the light switch goes off, and that's the aha moment that people talk about. And for me, that's what happened. And so it took a while, but that was the one thing that really took everything from me that I had to rebuild from.
So you rebuilt your life in many chapters, in many seasons. What role did inner confidence play in shifting your trajectory?
Yeah, inner confidence gave me the strength to go out into the prison yard, confront the men on the yard that everybody feared and that were respected and were who we looked up to our whole lives, and stand in front of them and tell them that I wanted to take control of my life and no longer be a part of the gang environment.
Because you were a shot caller, right? Before you went into solitary.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like going to the people that you respect, fear, and telling them that you're leaving. It's and then you're not just like, oh, well, they might talk about me and make me feel bad, but then you have to walk away and you have to realize that you might not survive. And so that took so much confidence within myself to do that. And it wasn't like, I'm just like going in it. It wasn't me overcoming just fear, right? Yeah. Part of it obviously was fear, that I had to push through. But, when you push through fear, right, which you can do, right, who are you then, Right. Who are you then? So if you're in an airplane, we're about to, skydive, and you push through the fear of that and you just jump, right? Confidence takes over then, right? Are you confident enough to pull your chute on time? Are you confident enough to navigate, to keep your composure? Like, are you confident enough to do everything you need to do from that point? You know what I mean? So that's the difference. And so the confidence was necessary for me to make that change, to go in front of the powers that be and make that change, declare it, but then also stand my ground and be able to defend who I am, defend why, even though I didn't owe it to them, but I wanted to, because for me, it was more of a me thing to be able to hear myself say it than to tell them.
So holding that conviction was transformative for you in terms of your confidence.
Yeah, and it still is as a leader of my company and, and other leaders, as a leader from other spaces. I mean, it absolutely, because, you have to have conviction. You have to believe in your vision and yourself and in the people around you or whatever. You have to believe in that, even if everybody's saying that it's not going to work, even if everybody's saying that you're making all the wrong decisions. You have to hold conviction and believe it yourself. Like, if not, then you'll never do great things.
Yeah. A lot of leaders perform confidence, but don't really truly embody it. How do you spot that difference, and what's the cost of faking it?
Yeah. You have to, it's obvious for me when I see people that are in leadership positions that aren't really leading right, or aren't really leaders, and they're masking. They have the title, but they're not really that. You could sense it is because they don't lead by example. Like, you'll see them saying to do certain stuff and to be a certain way and to operate, but they don't do it themselves, right? So
they talk the talk, but don't walk the walk.
Exactly. They talk the talk, but don't walk the walk. Yeah. And so that it's just kind of like this facade, right? Of them trying to get other people to be something that they're not, but you have to be able to become what you want from others, as a leader, you especially. So for me, I noticed that, and I feel that eventually that it will come out, and then it'll just make things worse for them and their organization. So, and if you are that type of person that is already doing that, it's not just too late. What it is like going back to what you said and just holding yourself accountable, kind of, and seeing where you need to work on things and be better.
Yeah. How can leaders cultivate real embodied confidence for themselves and help others do the same?
Hmm. Well, I think it's just first thing is having a clear understanding of what you ultimately want to accomplish in life. Leaders know what they want, know where they want to go. Uh, they really sure of who they are. So by figuring out what you ultimately want to accomplish, then you have a like a you have a game, you have a plan, like you have something to push and strive for. You have a mission, and so if you want to become a great leader and you want to maintain that, is to continue to ask yourself that question: is this thing that I've started on the path of wanting, that I ultimately want to accomplish, is it something that's still true to me today? And I ask myself that all the time when I'm like pursuing everything that I'm doing. Is I say, okay, 2 years ago I was really, really passionate about this, and I really love the idea of this, and today, is that same feeling still there?
Yeah.
Right? And if not, having the confidence and being a leader to say, I'm going to pivot and I'm going to shift trajectories, right? And then I've done it so many times, and people on my team are like, we're doing that now?" Like, but
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but that's, I'm just following my heart,
Yeah.
and I trust it, and it seems to be working out.
How does confidence connect to purpose, and why is that connection essential in today's world?
Yeah. So in the price method, my philosophy, and it's in my book, confidence in the line of principles, all the principles, and I won't get too much into the book. If you want to check it out, it's this version of it is coming out on my birthday, October 24th, and confidence is the second to last step before purpose. And purpose, what I mean by purpose, and when I write about it, its purpose is just meaning, right? It's a goal, it's a why, it's what you get up every morning and aspire to go do, to accomplish. And so it doesn't need to be like this huge thing like change the world, right?
Yeah.
It could be, but purpose could be something small, right? So so that's in the book and in my philosophy, that's the goal, to achieve that, to get there. Because so many people wake up every day and they go out into the world and they're doing things that they hate. They're not living with purpose. They don't have like meaningful goals in their life. So purpose is the objective. But confidence, it is like the final step to that, because once you go through the process and you reach the level of, okay, I have something here, like me with my transformation. Like, I transformed my life in solitary in 3 years, and the day they said, "Okay, Carlos, you're going back to general population," that was like the test. That was the ultimate test for me, because everything I did and told myself I was going to do and who I was going to become and all that stuff wouldn't have meant anything had I went back out to the prison yard and fell right back into the prison
Right.
politics,
Yeah.
right? Or pretended like I was trying to do that and that the new life.
Yeah.
So confidence allowed me to fully embody who I had become, what I wanted, which then opened up the door for me to now be living in my purpose.
Mm.
And so that's how it's so important,
Yeah.
because you won't truly find meaningful purpose, and it's sustainable for you in the long term if you don't have the confidence to own it.
I love that. So, a birdie told me that you're going to be hosting a masterclass on confidence
Birdie.
at the end of the month. So, what do you hope people walk away with after taking your masterclass?
Yeah, I'm so I did well, I have a master class that I created on confidence, which is on my website, and that I'm going to be promoting and stuff. And a part of that is, if you get the master class, then you'll be part of the free webinar that I'm going to do at the end of the month. So the webinar will be like in more of an opportunity for the people who did the master class to ask questions, to get deeper into the stuff that I talked about, um, and for me to get deeper into my life and how these things that I'm teaching applied. So it's an extended version of
Yeah.
that. And so for the master class and the webinar, and just this whole ideology and my understanding of what confidence is and the way I interpret it and how it helped me in my life, what I want people to walk away with is a clear, like just practical step-by-step process to get it going. So it's like
Yeah.
it's like anything in life. If you have values, or if you have principles in which you make day-to-day decisions, if you have a plan, if you have a blueprint, like, I'm a big believer in having like blueprints and direction in life.
Yeah.
And even in like the Bible, it's like the Bible is in a similar way. It's like it gives you instruction on how to live your life, right?
Right.
So all the self-help books that I was reading, from Man's Search to Meaning to Think and Grow Rich, whatever, it's always like, here's what you can do to help you grow and develop and become the best version of yourself, and to show up in the world the best you can. So the masterclass and the webinar is like that. It's like the things that you need to become more confident in your life, and it'll be unique for everybody and what that looks like. But here's the instruction,
Yeah.
And so I hope that the people walk away with a solid plan to help them become more confident people in the world.
Why did you decide to create this masterclass in the first place?
Yeah, it's just called me. It's like anything that I do in life, it calls me, and I pick up and I answer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know, because I could have did a masterclass on 50 different things, right? It's
Yeah.
like, but I'm a listener of the world. I have I'm very connected to what I feel people need, and I identify it. And even if I'm just like going through my everyday, like every encounter, every person I pass, every place I go, I'm listening, and I'm like soaking up what's happening. And I feel like there's a lot of people that struggle with confidence these days, and so all over the world. So I felt like it was important to do this.
Did you ever battle imposter syndrome walking into rooms with people who had degrees, wealth, or resources you didn't? And how did you silence that voice, those limiting beliefs you may have had?
Yeah, definitely had imposter syndrome. I don't like the name though, but it's the truth though. It's the truth. It is, if you, the definition of it definitely fits. But yeah, I remember getting out of prison, and I'd be in rooms with like just incredibly successful and smart and accomplished people.
Yeah.
And many of them were the same age as me, but younger, because I'd been in prison for so long. But what I noticed was that a lot of that I was like looking at was really just an exterior thing. It was like wow, like that's, that guy dresses nice, or man, she's well spoken, or man, that this person was talking about how they have all this money. But then when I started to like engage with them and really, have opportunity to speak to them and understand them, I realized like we're not all that different,
Yeah.
Um, and a lot of people that you think are like really like confident people, or that are these people who, have all this stuff, are really lacking a lot, lacking a lot inside, especially. So in the beginning, it was me kind of just asking myself, well, what do I bring? Like, why am I here? What am I bringing to this? And so for me, it was like, well, the thing that I know that I can bring is, my resiliency. So, and my discipline, and my loyalty, and my values, and these things that aren't tangible, but they're valuable in the world. And I know that if any of these people that were successful wanted to work with me, that I would be a valuable person to them. And even if I didn't know something, I was willing to learn it. So when I went in with that mentality, it gave me a little bit of confidence to approach them and build relationships and friendships and connections. And then they saw that, right? They saw that. And then they started to notice other things about me that I didn't even know I had, right? And so I remember one guy, he had told me he had went to an Ivy League, and a lot of his friends went to Ivy Leagues, and stuff like that. And we were having dinner one time. And he was the CEO of a company, and he was like, man, there's a lot of people that could say they went to Harvard. There's a lot of people that can say they went to, they made $1 million, right? But there's not many people that can say that they went through what you went through and became who you are today.
Mhm.
And he was like, you look at us, in a certain way, like, wow, these are successful and I want to be like that. But he's like, but we look at you like that. Like, we want to have that level of resiliency. We want to have that level of heart. We want to have that level of kindness and humility,
It's pretty
and
powerful.
power, so it's
Yeah.
like, he shifted my perspective, right? And so when I speak to kids, and this, when we go
Yeah.
speak to kids and I go into the prisons, I'm like, you have something within you that is very powerful. And
Just needs to be
yeah,
ignited.
you just need to know how to channel it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A wise man once told me that if you were stripped of everything, who would you be? Who would you show up in prison, right? If you stripped of your identity, all the glitz and glamour, material things. So, yeah, true confidence is all within. For people listening right now who feel small or powerless, what's one thing they can do today to take their confidence up a level?
Do something that scares you.
Mm.
Yeah. Do something that really intimidates you, that stretches you, and um, and go in with the mindset that you have to accomplish it, right? Because it's easy to say, all right, I'm going to go do something difficult, and if I fail at it, then that's it, I'm done, right? And you could gain a little confidence from that, but if you go into it knowing that, like, all right, I'm going to go into this and it's going to be very difficult, but I'm not going to give up until I get really good at it, you're going to gain confidence. So I would say do that. I always look for opportunities to do that.
Well, thank you, Carlos, for this amazing talk.
I just wanted to say thank you for listening all the way to the end of the episode. I wanted to just give a quick shout out to the sponsors for this podcast, in terms of like them allowing us to use their space at Legendary Foods, at the Legendary Studios. I want to give a shout out to them for that. They're amazing product. Also, I want to say that if you're interested in a free PDF version of my book, Warrior in the Garden: 7 Rules for Men, there'll be a link in the description that you can click to get that, as well as to sign up for our weekly newsletter. And I'm always giving new advice and new guidance to help you get through life's challenges, and always keeping you up to date on the new things that we're doing, How to Battle, and my company. And so I just want to say thank you for being here and listening. And please remember to subscribe.